Rowan College of South Jersey's live online classes deliver real-time lectures and face-to-face classroom interaction right to your door.
In a lot of ways, it wasn't much different than any in-person class.
You just turn on your computer and you're in the classroom. It's simple.
We're going through some tough times right now, but live online learning is awesome.
With live lectures and real student interaction, you can learn your way. Visit rcsj.edu to register today.
Welcome to Rowan College of South Jersey's continuing series of virtual town halls. I'm Josh Pennington, RCSJ's Vice President and Chief Information Officer, and I have the pleasure of acting as your moderator during today's town hall. In just a few moments, you'll hear from our panelists, which consists of Vice President and Provost, Dr. Brendan Rickards, Vice President of Student Services, Judith Atkinson, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, Dominic Versacelli, Dr. Jim Picone, Vice President of the Cumberland Campus, and Dr. Sue Hall, who is the Dean of the Nursing and Health Professions Division and is also the college's medical director. I want to acknowledge that our Board of Trustees Chair, Gene Concordia, is attending today's town hall. Thank you, Mr. Concordia, as well as all the board members for your continued support. You might be wondering, how do I ask a question? Our goal is to make this as easy as possible, so please look for the chat button. Click or tap that button to send us your questions. We'll do our best to answer your questions, but if we run out of time, we promise to answer all of them through a call, email, or through our FAQ, which is located at rcsj.edu/learn. Please note that if you've called in, you'll be unable to ask questions during the event. Finally, one last note, we are recording today's event, and we will make it available from the Town Hall website within a couple of days. Now, unfortunately, President Keating is unable to attend today's Town Hall, but he sends his well wishes and looks forward to participating in future events. That said, we're in good hands because we have the man with the academic plan, Dr. Brendan Rickards. So, Dr. Rickards, before I start asking our students important questions, can you please speak to the college's plan of how we're going to carefully reopen this fall?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, students, thank you very much for your time today. We truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to attend to hear some about what RCSJ's opening plans are for the fall term. What we've been working on here, and it's a lot of behind the scenes work, we have been in constant communication with government officials, with health officials, and with just everybody around campus to determine what the best mode of strategy is for us to open the campus safely. So when we think of opening a safe campus, we have to keep in mind not only the safety of you, but the safety of the employees' families, the staff families, as well as your families and extended family and friends. So when we start looking at that, it becomes very, very obvious that with social distancing, we must maintain the ability to provide services to you such that you can get to your academic future, but also maintain that distancing to keep us all safe and healthy. So with that, we have opened the campus up and we will be having students coming back on campus to obtain services as necessary beginning in the next few weeks. As these campuses open up, what the students will be able to do is you would be able to come make an appointment with an advisor. A lot of those can be handled virtually, which is what we are stressing to try to do. You will be able to register. You will be able to do things as you normally would. In terms of fall delivery, what we are focusing on is designing our course delivery modalities such that we are keeping you, the students, as well as the faculty and staff, again, safe. So what we have designed is 3 different real modes of delivery for us. So the delivery modes that you will be seeing, and we will speak a little bit more about as we go through this, will be a traditional online delivery, which is the online like you would see where you log onto the computer at whatever time is necessary for you, whether it's noon or 2 o'clock in the morning, whenever you work best. You would still have class deadlines, you would still interact with the faculty, you would still do discussion boards. However, you wouldn't have a specific time that you would have to log in. You, again, would still have to meet class deadlines as you work your way through the material, but you would not have a specific log-on time. Second mode of delivery is one that we are very excited about. This is what we are calling our live online delivery. With this mode of delivery, you would be able to interact with the faculty as well as your students through a virtual environment, such as Zoom. With us using Zoom for this, it will allow you to speak with one another, to speak with the faculty as the faculty is going through material. You can ask questions, you can interact with everyone as if you were in a classroom, albeit now it would be a virtual classroom. With it being set up like this, you would log on at specific times. So say your class is scheduled for a Monday, Wednesday at, let's say 9:30 in the morning, you would log on at that time. You then would have the faculty member providing the material in an online lecture. Again, you would be just like sitting in a classroom, but you can be sitting at home in your own comfort or wherever it is that you are taking the class, and you would complete the work and learn the material as you would if you were sitting in a classroom. The reason we went to this mode of delivery is for, again, the safe opening of campus, because what we are thinking is we have to allow you to interact with one another because we are social beings, which is definitely understood, but we cannot have you locked in a classroom sitting with 30 to 40 other students in a small classroom where things could be passed very, very easily. So by providing this live online format, we will allow for the interaction that all of us crave, and it allows for the interaction between the faculty and the students that you can learn most effectively. The last mode of delivery is what we're calling our hybrid delivery. These are for a small, limited number of classes where the actual work cannot be completed online. And when I say cannot be completed online, what I mean is these are classes that for you to achieve competencies, you have to do the work hands-on. So think about your health professions fields, for example, nursing, automotive, technology. These are the types of things that you must do hands-on work. So largely these will be in your health professions, a few limited number of laboratories, and things such as ceramics. When I say limited laboratories, what we are really looking at are a few engineering classes, forensics classes, and other things where you specifically would be doing hands-on work like land surveying. In terms of what you would be doing with labs, you should have lab kits that would facilitate your completion and learning the hands-on material. So what we've set up is these different types of deliveries to keep everyone on the college campus safe. Our hope with the college is that we can provide the best type of education for you that moves your career forward, trains you for success in your careers, as well as absolutely prepares you for transfer to our four-year partner institution. By providing this, we will keep you safe and we will keep you as healthy as possible, and we will allow you to get to your future career goals. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I would like to turn it over to our panelists so that we can start going through some of your questions, because here at RCSJ, our ultimate goal is to provide support to you as a student that will allow you to get to your career goals. And I know you have a lot of burning questions that we will be getting to that all will address when you can come onto campus to obtain services, the virtual ways that you can obtain services, and how we will deliver these things to you such that we can get you to your ultimate career goals. So thank you for being a student at RCSJ at this time. And with that, I'll turn it over to the panel.
Hey, Dr. Rickards, if a student has a specific question about a lab course, and let's say a lab kit, right? Because it's a new way for many of our students to participate in a lab science, where you get this kit and then you actually use it in, say, your kitchen, for example, and you conduct the experiments. But if a student has a question about that, who should the student go to, ahead of time?
Great question. So in terms of the laboratory kits are being designed so that they have specifically the material that they would have being handled in the classroom. If they are interested in the specifics of that lab kit and how they will be doing that, the best people to talk to would be the deans of the STEM division or the assistant deans of the STEM division. So Dr. Christina Nace, Linda Mayer, and Diane Trace, or the faculty members that ultimately would be teaching this. When you get into the classroom, the faculty members have designed their support systems for these labs such that they will be able to help you through. You will not be doing the labs in a virtual type environment. It will be the hands-on work that you need to obtain those competencies. So again, the best people to contact for that would be the academic division as well as your faculty that you would be taking the classroom.
And I know, we really dove into virtual labs or these lab kits, if you will, over the summer. And what I've heard so far from students and faculty is that they've been going really well. Has that been your impression as well, Dr. Rickards?
That's been my impression as well. So for the students, my background is in the sciences. I was trained as a classical molecular biologist. So I did the hands-on work. The virtual labs and the hands-on labs that are being designed now are very, very robust, and they are exactly what you would be doing is if you were in a classroom type scenario. So I would not worry as a student about being prepared, and the feedback that I have gotten is yes, the students are being largely successful with the lab kit.
That's great to hear. Some of the questions that have come in, and I'll try to address them, are around technology. And for example, in a live online course, and you alluded to this, Dr. Rickards, the tool that we're going to be using in conjunction with our learning management system, and learning management system is just a crazy word, which means the environment that you go into for your course, where all that content is curated in one place. So we want to make sure it's as easy as possible for students to get to all their material. But once you go in there, what will happen is there'll be the live lectures, and those live lectures would take place at the same time that a face-to-face live lecture would take place for that course. So if it was Mondays at noon, that live lecture would take place Mondays at noon. And there'll be a link for students to click on, and that will activate Zoom. You might have to download Zoom if you don't have it already, but we'll have directions on how to do that. And then as long as you have a device that meets the minimum specifications to be able to run Zoom, and you need something with speakers and with a camera, you're going to be able to literally interact with your instructor as well as your fellow students. And it gets really, really cool to the point where, let's say that your instructor wants to have group work inside of that course. Well, each student will be able to actually create a Zoom session with other students to have that interactive capability. Now, we know that not all students have the technology that they necessarily need to be able to participate in these courses. So it's really important that you go to rcsj.edu/laptop. Again, it's just rcsj.edu/laptop. And once you get there, you'll see minimum specifications for computers. And in the coming weeks, we'll have some really amazing deals on great computers that will be available through Barnes & Noble. I mean extremely affordable, under $600 for a computer that's going to last a student at least 6 years. And again, in the next couple of weeks, that will be available through Barnes & Noble, and we'll have it linked from that website that I was talking about. The other thing that we'll do is we'll make sure that we reach out to students through email and the text blast once they are available. So that's one of the questions. The other question is there any other type of special software that I need? And for the most part, the answer is no. If there is, it's going to be included in the syllabus, and that's going to be just niche software for particular courses. But really, everything that you should need, you'll have available to you, which will be Zoom, the ability to go into your course. And then as an RCSJ student, you get access to Microsoft Office for free, as well as cloud storage. So all of these pieces are included as being a student in these live online classes. Now, one of the questions that we've been getting, and Dr. Rickards, I ask you to try to address this, is why is there an additional fee for online courses and live online courses?
So what we have done at RCSJ specifically to not affect the students was to keep the tuition flat for this term. We also have increased the available scholarships and the available online support. When we say that, what we have done is we have opened up the ability for the students to gain access to Microsoft Office suite of products, the support that they will be necessary for these online type courses. It's not that it's a new fee. We have had to change fees around in terms of deliveries because some of the fees would go away. So for example, laboratory fees and such. So in terms of fee structures, we have not been throwing on additional things onto the backs of students. Rather, what we have done is we have provided additional support that is necessary to allow you as a student to be successful in your courses as you proceed and go through.
No, thank you very much. Let's dive into that support for a second. And Judy and Dr. Bacone, perhaps you could give some concrete examples of the support that will be available to students throughout the summer and then in the fall.
Hello, thank you everybody for joining us today. So the support that we have in place is all right now virtual, and it is, I think, worked out well. You know, we started out in the spring, we've kind of tweaked it through the summer and perfecting it for the fall. So you are going to have the same access to all the services, and we are primarily trying to keep it remote. There will be opportunities to make appointments so that you can still have that live interaction too. So we're gonna almost be doing live online student services as well, 24/7. Oh no, not 24/7. yeah, so no, we're here for you. We're here.
All right, Sean, if you're listening, I hope you heard that 24/7. Dr.
We get the
Picone?
chat bot, it will be.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so it has really worked out well, whether it's tutoring or advising, to have this virtual environment for the students, and also enrollment. So you could really reach out to the college. Our website is really informative if you need to reach out to a certain department. So please look at the website to direct you in whatever your needs are.
Thank you very much. A question came up about the laptop. So originally when we put guidance out, we said it was going to be part of tuition. What we decided to do was make it so it would be available at Barnes & Noble. And because it'll be available at Barnes & Noble, your financial aid will be able to help pay for that laptop. So instead of making it part of your tuition up front, what we've decided to do is actually make it so the laptop, after you've registered, you can go to Barnes & Noble and purchase the laptop. We think it makes things a little bit easier for students to be able to make that purchase and get it delivered. So that's the main reason we went ahead and changed that. Dr. Rickards, if we could talk about labs just for another second. So one of the students specifically wanted to know if we're going to be offering organic chemistry labs virtually. In other words, will they get a lab kit and that's how they'll partake in organic chemistry, or are we going to make that a hybrid course?
No, that course also will have a laboratory kit associated with it. The faculty that teach that class on both campuses have collaborated to identify what is necessary for you to be successful, and have collaborated to put together the material that you can do in a safe format on micro scale at your house. So you will be able to do those labs in a virtual format.
Thank you. Here's another question, Dr. Rickards, while I have you. So a student said that they're scared for their GPA. They're going to have 4 classes completely online and 2 classes using Zoom and live online. So 6 classes, all online. And it sounds like this might be the first time the student's ever taken any online courses. So what advice do you have for that student? And the student wants to know, are professors going to be understanding since we are in these kind of crazy times?
So first and foremost, we are expecting our faculty to be highly interactive and to work with the students in a manner which allows the students to be successful. So if you're contacting the faculty and the faculty are not responding, make sure that you contact the dean such that they can identify and reach out to those faculty to make sure that you are getting the support that you need. In terms of the actual work and how you would do the scheduling, we all have been working in this virtual environment now for a matter of about 4 months. And I fully understand where you're coming from on a logistical scheduling side of this. When you go through college, one of the biggest things that you learn is how to identify and manage your time successfully. When you're in high school, you're locked in, meaning you have specific times all day where you are there from 7 in the morning, which sounds crazy, until 2 o'clock in the afternoon or what have you. As a college student, the biggest thing that you have to learn is how to schedule and manage your time. When I was in college, what I did is maintained, and this is going to really date me a little bit, maintained a planner that had specific schedules that I would write down exactly what was going on, when the tests were, what the due dates were. In our time now, we actually have the ability to set these reminders on your phone. For those of you that, I know most of you do have phones, and the calendar systems that are on there, if you put due dates for anything in there, you can go on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, and you can always look ahead at exactly what is due. So my advice for students would be to spend some time on that first couple days of class when you know as well as I do, the first few classes you're getting the syllabus, you're getting adjusted to what the learning environment for those classes are going to be. At this point, we know the learning environment for those classes will be virtual. So as you get the material and get that information, my suggestion would be to preload the semester into your phone. Take the time, sit aside while you're watching TV or what have you, and literally load those into your phone in a calendar such that you have the actual reminders come up. I think gone are the days of those little black calendars that I used to use, but that would be my advice to you. So you can schedule exactly when all of those known Zoom meetings would be for your classes, or when those due dates or exams would be.
No, thank you very much. A question just came up about Zoom and how they'll know when they have classes. So if you register for a live online course, you'll see the times there when you go register as when the class would actually meet. And those are the times that you'll be meeting. Your instructor will also have information in the syllabus, and it's going to be Zoom. That's going to be the tool we use for live online, but this is where it gets a little complicated, I guess. You're going to go through Blackboard, so you'll have a course, and there'll be a lot of information inside of Blackboard for that course, and part of that will be links to your Zoom meetings, and so that's how you'll actually activate Zoom and get into it. Sue, can you speak to the health requirements and safety checks for a student that's taking a hybrid course? In other words, if a student comes on campus, do they need to take their temperature ahead of time? Do they need to have a COVID-19 test? What are the requirements for these hybrid students?
So, thank you, Josh, and welcome to everyone who made the time to join us today. As part of our reopening plan, we have taken every avenue to ensure with respect to the research and the ongoing documentation that's being done by our health experts. So we've taken this approach to open cautiously. When we say that, as Dr. Rickards has just shared, we're doing a lot of the classes live online, but there are some of those programs, as he referred to, automotive technology and our healthcare courses, that need to come on at very minimal times to the campus to do those hands-on competencies that are required by the clinical agencies. We both know comparatively in some of these programs that the students just really need to be confident and competent in the things that they're doing before they take care of real life patients or before they work on a car, to know that they've had a chance to practice in a safe environment. And with that, as our students come in, we have taken the approach of keeping the students safe and the faculty as well. So for those students who are required to come on campus in a very modified schedule, and you will be notified of that, we have mechanisms in place where we're doing daily health screenings. We're doing temperature checks. If they're not able to be done at home, they'll be done when they come to the campus, and forms we're going to fill out. Now, the reason for that, if you have seen anything out there in the news or the literature, is we know that this COVID virus is still alive. It's still prevalent in our communities, in our counties. We've had questions about the rates, and part of what I do each day is look at the county reporting rate. And we know that there's still positive cases in not only Gloucester County, but Cumberland County. We see the death rates that are reported, but we also look around in close proximity. And even though our Camden County neighbors are only 8 miles from our Gloucester campus, we do have students from Camden County. So we look at all this data. We look at the specific recommendations from the CDC, from our Health and Human Services, and our county health department representatives. So our students who have to come on campus will be provided with PPE that's appropriate for what they're doing. But we also have standards in place where we're asking students to wear face masks. And again, we'll provide the gowns and gloves as needed, but there will be a screening process. There is not, and I repeat, is not a mandatory testing for COVID-19. However, students and including faculty and staff that are interested, there is a link where you can go put in your zip code and be directed to the closest area that will do COVID-19 testing. And there's more information about that on the New Jersey State Department of Health website. Some of the things that we've looked at so far for those students in our selective admission programs for health, both at the Gloucester and Cumberland campus, is returning to clinical. We've had some approvals in our what we call health professions program, our diagnostic medical sonography, radiology, and those sites where they're being cautious and requiring students to have certain things done before they come back to the clinical. They are our diagnostic sites. We are still in dialogue and seeking approval for nursing students, and I can assure you that as the sites give us permission, we will meet every expectation that those sites have for our students. So that notification will be coming. Those students will be contacted directly if there's any kind of tests, such as a COVID test or a fit test or things like that. We will notify them individually, and this is coming from the site. So what I can say right now, as we're doing this on July 22nd, is students just be patient. We are running those programs. We are having them. You've worked hard to apply. You've been very good in your academics to be accepted to those programs. And we're working with you to make sure that you have a quality experience. And again, working with our clinical sites. Our clinical sites are managed by the State Health Department. We know they're in communication. So as soon as we're able to communicate to you, we will be letting you know what those expectations are.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hall. Nick, when a student or a guest or an employee is on campus, both inside and outside, is there a mandatory mask requirement?
Well, inside, of course, we're requiring everyone to have a mask. If you don't bring your own face coverings, we will have one there for you. So yes, we'd like everyone to have a face covering, especially if you're not able to maintain the 6-foot distancing. Now, as far as outside, we will be following the executive order of the governor that basically says you have to have a mask if you're unable to keep that 6-foot distancing. So, but if you're able to keep it, then the mask won't be required.
Thank you. Jim and Nick, so, I mean, this fall semester is going to be different. Is food going to be available on campus? So if a student's there and they're hungry, will there be a place for them to go get a bite to eat?
The answer sadly is no, because I'm always hungry. So no, both campuses, and I know Jim's will be able to respond to Cumberland, but both campuses, cafeteria vendors will not be on campus. You know, we'll have the vending machines, unfortunately, not that that's healthy, but we'll have the vending machines. So we're asking that the employees bring their lunch, pack their lunch. Of course, they can eat at their desk. They can go outside. The tables are still nice outside. But again, you have to maintain your social distancing even when packing your own lunch. Thanks.
How about the bookstore? So a student registers for the fall. They need to get books. Can they come on campus and buy those books?
As of August 17th, the bookstores on both campuses will be open just like any other retail store. But with that said, the bookstores are basically open now. There'll be online services. You can always contact them if you have any issues, but they'll be shipping your books home if you need to. Returns are done also at a later date. There was no deadlines on returns. I know you can go online. You can print up the packing label and you can return them through the mail. So if there's any issues between now and August 17th, please contact the bookstore. They will work with you individually. And then on August 17th, they'll be open for business. And again, it'll be the social distancing rules, just like where you go to any other retail store. I'm sure you're going to have to have a mask and you'll have to do the 6-foot social distancing.
Thank you very much, Nick. There was a question that came in. It's a technology question, and the student has a Mac, and they want to know if that Mac's going to work for all of their online courses, including CIS, the Computer Information Systems, and Microsoft Office. The answer is yes and no. So the one app that, if you're a CIS major, that you need to use is Access. So Access is not going to be available for a Mac. There are alternatives. We have a virtual computer lab you can access. You could install Windows on your Mac as well. Really, what I really recommend is you reach out to the professor that's teaching that course and have a conversation about it. It'd be a little more difficult, but it is possible. And the Mac will work fine in Zoom. Just need to make sure that it meets the minimum specifications that are listed at rcsj.edu/laptop. Nick, students that play sports, fall sports, for example, what type of opportunities exist for them to play this semester?
Yeah, Josh, that's a great question. It's a great question. This is one of the only issues we still have outstanding. We are really kind of on the bubble on this. We are following the guidelines from the national organizations, the NJAC organizations, which right now are basically saying that they are only encouraging a few sports in the fall. We're preparing for that. I still hate to have the people on the, our students on the bubble on this, but we still don't know, because the practicality of this is we may be able to practice, but our competing schools may not be offering the sport. So we're still weighing all that out. I'm hoping to have an answer by July 27th. I know that practices, if you've read the paper, the governor has announced through executive executive order that contact sports can actually start practicing now. So, contact sports is soccer, let's say. But I believe that the NJAC is basically promoting that fall sport to take place in the spring. So all I can say is stay tuned, stay in touch with your athletic department, your recruiter, your advisor on the whole athletic question at this point. But it's still up in the air. I think everyone's been reading the paper regarding it, the National Football League, Major League Baseball, college football. We're in that same boat. So I don't have a clear answer, but unfortunately, it is the last piece of this puzzle in academics. So stay tuned.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm sure as we get more information, it'll be available at that Learn site. We'll send out emails, and I'm sure the athletic directors from both campuses will let all the students know, especially all the prospects.
Correct.
Judy, so we weren't able to celebrate our graduates like we normally do with a wonderful commencement. We had some great social media initiatives, some great videos that we produced showing students with their caps and gowns celebrating. But students want to know, when will we be able to celebrate with them and hold a commencement? And some of the students are saying, I'm seeing some of the universities are doing these. Is Rowan College planning to do it? So what is our kind of plan, our concrete plan for the students, so they just know?
Sure. So as all of my colleagues have mentioned, safety as the paramount concern that we all have for our students, staff, and their families. And that's why we have, as a college, said that we have postponed commencement. We have not canceled it. It is postponed. And in looking at guidance from the governor's office, the CDC, and the local county health departments, looking for the optimum time that we can celebrate all together. So even if that means next spring, so spring 2021, where we could focus on our class of 2020, and then next day focus on the 2021. But the administration is committed to celebrating and acknowledging your accomplishments. And hopefully you all have received those that petitioned to graduate and got your cap and gown, that you received your diploma jacket, your graduation gift, and perhaps you've gotten your certificate or your diplomas and your transcripts. So we haven't forgotten, and like I said, we are committed to celebrating this milestone in all your lives. So stay tuned. But in reality, just it probably won't be until the spring of 2021 as we monitor everything and the phases that roll out, for academics.
Yeah, as Vice President Atkinson said, safety is paramount for us. And unfortunately, you just see that the pandemic, it's spiking again in areas. The numbers are increasing a bit in New Jersey. So we just want to do everything humanly possible to be as safe as we possibly can for everybody, right? For everyone's families, the graduates, the employees. Dr. Rickards, how are we going to administer exams in the fall? So I'm in a live online class, or I'm in an online class. How am I as a student going to take an exam?
So if you're registered for the online or live online, the exams will be completed online as well. So you will not be required to come to a campus type scenario to sit right next to somebody else from your class. You will be taking those exams online. So again, when we look at online, that's the idea. So the exams will be delivered online as well.
Yeah, and I would just add, some of those exams could be proctored, and by proctored, it means you'd have a webcam. So if you had a laptop, you'd have the webcam there. If you have a PC at home or a Mac at home, you would need a webcam for it. And that webcam is not being viewed by a human. It's actually going through an AI system. And what would happen is, if the webcam thinks it sees actions that are questionable, right, and AIs are not perfect, it just sends an email to your faculty member and asks your faculty member to review that clip. So if you have like a Nest doorbell or something like that, it's similar to that, right? And then the faculty member can review it at that point. One of the things I'm happy to say is we don't have an additional charge for the proctoring. You'll see some colleges out there charge per test or exam that's proctored. We're not doing that. We just want to make sure that student understands that this is what I'm paying for this course, and there's no added or hidden fees out there. Let's see, I'm just kind of combing through the questions to see if I've missed anything. Here's one, Dr. Picone, so let's say that a student needs tutoring, but they can't come on campus to get tutoring, right? Because they want to do well. How would they go about getting that tutoring? How can they still, get the help they need?
Well, this is also being done very well virtually, tutoring. So they would reach out on the website. We have very well defined in every department on campus. So you would reach out to that person or that contact through email on the website, and they would set up an appointment. And I will say that tutoring's been very successful during the spring semester when we had to go online. We had many sessions and many repeat customers that came back for tutoring on a weekly basis. And the average tutoring session was over an hour. So we are here. It's not a short session. If you need an hour, you need more time than an hour, you need to come back every day. There's someone there to help you with your tutoring.
And I will say this, we have invested heavily in technology to make sure that this fall semester goes as smooth as it can. And I got to tell you, the summer semester is going just perfectly almost. And I promise you we're going to do all we can to make sure that the fall semester goes just as well by having all these virtual services available. Dr. Rickards, can you talk about Rowan Choice for a moment?
Absolutely. So the Rowan Choice program is a program that we have with Rowan University where students actually would usually physically take classes on the campus of Rowan University while they live on the campus of Rowan University. What we've done with that program is, once again, the class deliveries will be online or live online, the class delivery modality or the hybrid, depending upon your major. So the class deliveries are no different than if you were a student at RCSJ. So class delivery, no change in terms of versus the regular type of student population. In terms of housing with the Rowan Choice population, housing will not be required. It will be offered. You will have the option to live on the campus of Rowan University and take your classes virtually, or you can select to stay at home for the semester and return hopefully for the spring semester for an online or a virtual or in-person type class scenario. So in terms of housing, it will not be required, but it will be an option for you as a student, and students that do that would be following the housing regulations, the rules, the spacing that is in place for Rowan University.
Thank you. There's been questions that have come in. This is more relevant to right now. There are some issues accessing the portal and Blackboard on the Gloucester campus. Unfortunately, a third party that's part of the internet that makes all of this work is experiencing some issues. But we're told within the next couple of hours, it should be fixed, and then everyone will be able to access the portal again, be able to access Blackboard. If you as a student had an issue where there was an assignment that was due during this downtime, please speak with your faculty member. I'm sure they'll be understanding. Unfortunately, the best technology can break, right? You can buy a brand new car and you can have a flat tire the next day, and that's kind of what we're experiencing at this point. But again, the provider is promising us within the next couple of hours we'll have the issue fixed. Dr. Rickards, one more question that I'll throw your way. When should a student expect their final schedules to be posted for hybrid classes and clinical times and dates that would go along with that?
So in terms of hybrid classes, the best thing to do would be to contact your instructor or the directors of those programs, because they are finalizing those schedules as we speak. The vast majority of those hybrid classes are in the selective admissions. So we do have Dr. Hall that can address more so with the clinical scheduling specific to that. So I'll turn her over to that in a second. The other classes that are being set up as hybrid, the best thing to do would be to contact your instructors. The schedule will be posted online, but the best thing to do at this point would be to contact the instructors for those classes, because they have definitive schedules that they are currently working on. The times of those class meetings would already be published online. And if you have any specific questions on the specific meeting date, the instructor for those for those specific classes would be the best person to contact. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Hall so she can talk a little bit about the health profession.
So in relationship to specific clinical schedules, we're still waiting to hear from the agencies in just about all of our programs, both on the Gloucester campus and the Cumberland campus. So when we're working, which we are, collaboratively with the institutions, they have to be given permission to have students in their institutions. So as I indicated earlier, in case you missed the first part, some of our institutions are requiring certain specific things be done before students can attend, and we're working out those details now. An example would be if per se, one institution wants students to have a COVID test prior to coming in to take care of patients. We will meet that requirement, but we want to make sure that we communicate with the students first. We don't want to put students through undue stress or undue expense or even some things that they might not be able to do. So when these things are confirmed, and when we get the confirmation of the agencies that we're allowed to attend, regardless of the program, we'll reach out to the students and just let them know. In the case of nursing, I can say from both campus areas, the instructors may not have been assigned because, again, we're waiting to see what agencies are allowing our students to come. For those students who are in their second year, maybe you've had an experience with clinical last year. The clinical agencies are very complex for the instructors to get in, get passwords. So this kind of circles back to what I just said, is that we're waiting for the agencies to tell us to come so that the instructors can be prepared so that we can provide you with the best possible experience. Now, in the event that we're not able to attend clinical in the very beginning of the semester, students will be notified of that as well. So again, I just say to hang in there. We will communicate. There will not be any surprises. And we should have definitive answers sometime for our first semester students in nursing in August, right about the time of our orientation. We will be having orientation at both campuses, and there will be a virtual component, and we'll have more information so that we can give you the clearest and concise schedule that works with you, and some of those things you've already committed to. For those classes in the selective admission program that have a hybrid component, we will be communicating on what days you need to come to campus and what days those things will be delivered in the virtual environment. And again, this kind of goes back to the instructors aren't necessarily assigned. We just say keep watching your RCSJ email. We will be sending things out through email, text messaging, and make sure that you're aware. But that will probably be about the second to third week in August when you'll receive that information.
Thank you very much. And Judy, here's a question that just came in. Since most classes are online, can New Jersey Star students take a smaller load and extend their time and still remain in the program?
The requirements for NJ Stars have not changed, so they do still need to maintain that full credit load. But with the delivery and the support that the students will have, we're going to make sure that they will be successful and comfortable in doing that so that they can maintain their scholarships.
All right, thank you very much. One final note that I'll put out there to all the students. If you email the professor and they're not getting back to you, or give them a couple days because it's the summer, obviously, but you can always escalate that by also emailing the dean. So if you've asked a question and you haven't gotten the answer that you need, please go ahead and ask the dean. We've got a great team of deans that are really student focused and want to make sure that you're successful and we answer all of your questions. And we know there are a lot of questions, right? Unfortunately, dealing with this pandemic, we've had to change a lot of our practices, move them online again. So we are opening as carefully and safely as possible, but there are lots of questions, and you can get a lot of those questions answered by going to rcsj.edu/learn. And from there, there'll be other links that can bring you to information about our response to the coronavirus, about our response to social injustice that's a topic right now, and also about the laptop program for students. So just a lot of really valuable information there. We have FAQs that are searchable, so please take a look at that. And again, you can always reach out to any of us that are on the panel. Be glad to have a conversation with you and do our best to answer your questions as well. So once again, I thank you all for attending today's town hall. We really are in this together, and together we're going to beat this pandemic. and we're going to make this college stronger, and we guarantee that you will be successful. So thank you very much for attending. Godspeed.